He said, make Jesus no come here too. I was like, you never do what? He said, don't worry, sir. You likely don't know how to have sex. And I know you feel like you're gonna kill it, maybe because of the movies you've watched or just the mindset that you have. But the truth is, a man can go from 0 to 100, and 0 meaning just getting into the arousal, and 100 meaning climaxing. He can go from 0 to 100 in about 20 seconds, literally as fast as that. But a woman builds up over time. A woman doesn't go like a guy. Speaking to the Christian brothers, please, please. Hello, can I share a funny story with you? I remember it vividly like it was yesterday. I was speaking at a program, with youth, teens, and mostly Christian guys. And, I was sharing so passionately about how I love Jesus. I was so much in love with Jesus, and, how nothing the world has to offer will do. And I remember saying this. I can't wait for Jesus to come back. And as soon as I said that, the room went dead quiet. It was so quiet that if a pin dropped on the ground, I would have heard it. And after a few seconds, there were murmurs everywhere. And I was wondering, what happened? What did I say? Did I say anything wrong? And I was pondering on what I did wrong. A guy from the back said boldly, he said, make Jesus no come here too. And I heard him. I said, why shouldn't Jesus come yet? He said, make Jesus no come here too. I was like, you never do what? He said, don't worry, sir. And at that point, I understood what he was saying. What he was saying was that, Jesus should not come yet because he has not had sex. And I got what he was trying to say instantly. I felt that way. Just because I've been married for over 3 years, doesn't mean I have lost touch and I cannot empathize with the struggles of Christian brothers. In fact, I remember when I was younger as a single, vibrant Christian, for one thing I was always curious about, which I was scared to ask anybody because I had fears that, I will be judged, I will be looked at as carnal. I was curious to know, what does sex actually feel like? So in this video, I am going to be my brother's keeper. So if you're a single Christian brother or even in a relationship but have not had sex before, this video is going to give you some closure. I am not sure I'm going to be telling you what sex feels like because I just feel like, that's one of the blessings that you have to discover and uncover by yourself in marriage. But however, I am going to be telling you 6 things that I wish maybe a mentor and a pastor or someone that was married had told me about sex. And no, this is not a video about telling you to keep yourself to your marriage. I'm sure you know that already. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I wish someone had told me about sex is that sex is not the ultimate satisfaction or pleasure. Think about it. Like the story I shared before, why would someone say, I don't want Jesus to come yet because I want to experience the pleasure of sex? Why would someone equate and put side by side, the pleasure of sex and spending an eternity with Jesus who created sex in the first place? The only reason why one would ever do that is because, it sees sex as ultimate satisfaction, as that thing that must be attained. And if it is not attained, life is not complete. I have not enjoyed the fullness of life. And I get it because this is what the media and this is what the devil wants you to feel like, that if you've not, had that one night stand, your life is not complete. And I kind of knew that sex was not the ultimate pleasure. And how I came to this conclusion was when I watched movies. When you watch a movie and there's a guy that likes a girl, they go on a date, they have a nice time and they invite her to his place, and they sleep together. And after the act, the guy now becomes, they become both vulnerable with each other. And the guy says, I want to tell you something. I'm still in a relationship with someone. And you will see that in the movie, the woman gets very angry. And so what made me know that sex was not the ultimate satisfaction is, how would you switch from ultimate pleasure to ultimate disgust to ultimate anger? I'm like, how will you be so much a climax that, all of a sudden, in a second, because of what someone said, you are angry. At that point, I kind of knew that, no, this thing is not the ultimate satisfaction. No matter how long it lasts, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it does not last forever. So I don't want you to ever feel like your life is not complete or like you are missing out on the fullness of life just because you've not had sex. And the truth is, I pray for you that anyone that is listening, that if you're not married, that you will find the wife or you find the husband of your dreams. Well, the wife of your dreams, because I'm speaking to the Christian brothers, please, please. I pray you find the person of your dreams and that you would experience this pleasure. But I want you to know that it is not the ultimate pleasure of life. So that's the first one. And if you're finding this helpful, please, I'd like you to hit the subscribe button and like this video. Thank you. The second thing I wish someone had told me about sex is that pornography would ruin your sex life. An addiction to pornography would ruin your sex life. Pornography is literally an epidemic. It will ruin your sex life. One thing I need you to know is that, a man can go from 0 to 100, and 0 meaning, just getting into the arousal, and 100 meaning climaxing. It can go from 0 to 100 in about 20 seconds, literally as fast as that. But a woman builds up over time. A woman doesn't go like a guy, but the deceit that pornography gives and trains people is that with each video, a guy is climaxing to the video that he is watching, and he's training his mind to climax fast. But the issue is that when he gets married, how sex actually works is that a man should hold an erection as long as possible for his wife to reach the orgasm and meet the needs of his wife. But now that is the dissonance between watching pornography and having real sex in real life, because one teaches you and trains your body to climax faster, but the real life thing makes you know that you need to stay as long as possible to meet the need of your partner. And this causes a lot of wives to be not satisfied with their sexual lives. Another issue that pornography also causes is something that is called porn-induced erectile dysfunction. Yup, it leads to erectile dysfunction. And what happens is that a man that has watched so much pornography would not have an erection when he is with his wife, because he used and he has trained his mind to only respond to women on the pixels of a screen. So literally, this is an epidemic. And if this is something you struggle with, I'm here for you. This channel literally covers, we have tons of videos that will help you if you struggle with this. Just click the link in the description and there will be a playlist that would help you. The third thing that I wish someone had told me about sex is that you don't know how to have sex. You likely don't know how to have sex. And why do I say this? Because I know in your dating, in your relationship, you're so in love with the woman, your woman, and your urges are building, the temptation is rising, and you're like, oh, I can't just wait. I can't wait. And I know you feel like you're gonna kill it, maybe because of the movies you've watched or just the mindset that you have. But the truth is, sexual mastery and sexual stamina is truly only built in the confines of marriage when your wife teaches you on the best ways to meet her sexual desires and to help her. So it's not just that one thing that, hey, I just go. No, you are meeting a need and they are meeting your own need. And so there's just that mindset that everybody has that, they are great at sex, but it is not the truth. And if you watch a lot of wedding videos, wedding night videos, from new couples that share on YouTube and all, they will let you know that their wedding night was likely not that great. It wasn't that great. But the good news is that you have your whole life with your wife, to discover and grow in stamina, grow in mastery, and grow in the skill of sex. It is something to be learned in the confines of marriage over time. And it's not just one time thing. The fourth thing I wish someone told me about sex is that do not envy men who have sex outside of marriage. I know at your workplace, at maybe your school, or even in the movies that you watch, you see those rich guys, those players that all the ladies are flocking around, that go to parties and go to clubs. And it looks like they have their life all figured out. What you don't know and what even the movies will not show you is that there's a big sized hole in their lives that they are using fame, they are using alcohol, they are likely even going through suicidal attempts to block, to cover. And this is something I just had to come to the reality of that, no matter how glamorous, no matter how big of a celebrity someone is, if they are living a life of lasciviousness, no matter how glamorous their life is, without God, it is an empty one. And I don't want you to, in fact, they should be pitied rather than envied. And the reason why I say that is that a lot of them cannot come to where you are. Let me explain. In a second, you can have sex and, not be a virgin anymore, when you get married. But they, with where they are, they cannot come back to where you are at anymore. They cannot be virgins again. So I want you to be proud of, where you are at, and don't be pressured by anyone. They cannot, so in fact, because they know they cannot come back to where you are in the purity and the saneness of where you are at, they are trying to get a lot of people to where they are at. So don't be pressured. No matter how glamorous it is, if they are not in Christ, if they are not walking in purity and in faithfulness, it is not worth it. The fifth thing that I wish someone would have told me about sex is that you will always need self-control. Yep. One thing you need to know is that the self-control that you are developing and mastering now in your single days is the same self-control that you will need even more when you get married. There's this false mindset that a lot of people have that when you get married, you don't need self-control, you don't face as much temptations again, but that is so far from the truth. Marriage does not change people. It only just even shows who they really are. I remember when I got married, a lot of people maybe like the next week, they will be like, wow, how does it feel to be married? I'm like, it feels the same. In fact, I just have more responsibilities. And that's just the truth. Because if you were broke before you got married, you are likely still going to be broke. If you were sick before you got married, you're still going to be sick. If you didn't have self-control before you got married, self-control is not going to just automatically jump on you then. You need to keep this in mind, because a lot of people think they can just leave anyhow when they get married, because one thing you need to know is that the woman of your dreams, if you even marry the woman of your dreams, the woman of your dreams does not stop your eyes from dreaming. And that's why you need to kill lust while you are single. And the sixth thing that I wish somebody had told me about sex is that have an anchor. Have an anchor. What's your why? What's your reason for not, having sex? What's your reason for not clubbing, not partying, not living an anyhow type of life? What's your reason? Because that reason is what is going to keep you when pressure comes, when people are tempting you, when people are saying, come over. Is that reason. And you need to know the reason while you are single and while you are not as tempted as much before, the temptations increase. So what is your motivation? A lot of people, when I've asked them this question, a lot of people say, I don't want to have STDs, I'm preserving myself from my wife, I'm honoring my parents, and all these are amazing motivations. But the truest and most powerful motivation is this: you are honoring the lover of your soul. Because think about this, having sex before you get married is fornication. And why would you think it would, if you are breaking his heart, how would you ever think it would make your heart feel right? It's not possible. If it breaks his heart, it can never fulfill yours. And the mindset I need you to have is the mindset of Joseph, when he was tempted by Potiphar's wife countless times. He said, how can I do this and sin against God? Your biggest motivation has to be God. So even when you are married, you are not keeping yourself because of your wife. You are keeping yourself to honor God. And lastly, I just want you to know this: sex is not good. Sex is great, and it is worth the wait. So thank you for sticking to the end of this video. If this blessed you, if you liked it, like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you struggle with that addiction, please check the other videos of this channel, check the description below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.